Hi, everybody. Welcome to the seventh episode of Hanjado, the way of Hanja. And let's get started. Today's Hanja is the seventh heavenly stem, gyeong, as it's pronounced in Sino-Korean. And we're going to talk a lot more about how it's pronounced, how it's written. Let's see, what's the next thing that I got on here? Okay, so one thing to talk about in particular. I'm sorry if I go back and forth a little bit, but that's the way my mind works. This character has 8 strokes, which to tell you the truth, by standards of Chinese characters, is not all that much, but it's a little more than some of the characters we've dealt with so far. If this is your first exposure to Chinese characters, then this character here may look somewhat complex, and admittedly it is somewhat complex compared to characters that have fewer strokes. And there are many. There are a lot of characters that have fewer strokes. But whenever you have a character that has usually more than 3 or 4 strokes, it's very often the case that character can be broken down into components. And this character, in fact, does have 3 distinct or easily recognizable components. And I emphasize easily recognizable. I'm going to talk more about this before we get into the usual stuff about exactly how to write this particular character and how to pronounce it. Let's just look at the parts of it. So this is the overall character here in the middle, gyeong, with the green part and a blue part. With the red part, a red part and a blue part and a green part. And the red part is an easily recognizable separate component that in Sino-Korean is pronounced gyeong, and it means vast. The blue part is an easily recognizable component in Sino-Korean. It's pronounced yul, and it means brush. And the third component, the green part, is in fact one of the most easily recognizable characters in of all the Chinese characters. Is the character for person, and it's pronounced in Sino-Korean. Now, one thing that is notable about gyeong, the character gyeong, which is a combination of these 3 components, is that the second 2 components, yul and in, overlap, as is pointed out with the 3 exclamation marks in this box down here. The central downward stroke of yul overlaps with the 2 strokes of and it not just overlaps, but in this case it disappears into the character in, so that you do not see the central downward stroke of yul. It's just gone in this combination. Decomposing Chinese characters into separate components is not an exact science, and it's not just an art. It's something of a black art. One of the dark arts, one might say. And people disagree about it. In fact, in different countries, in fact, have different ideas about. So if you look up the decomposition of a character, oftentimes you'll find that, in Korea it's decomposed this way, in Japan it's decomposed this way, in Taiwan, but the point of looking at the components is not to make things more complicated, more difficult, but to make things easier. And that's why added this note on learning about components. It's good to learn how to break more complex characters down into components. This is a very general rule about problem solving in general. Whenever possible, break a big complicated problem down into multiple smaller, easier problems. The downside is now you have more problems, right? And so it can be, if you think, oh wait, I thought I just had to learn one character, now you're telling me I need to learn 4. No, don't look at it like that. Don't sweat too much about the components. The whole idea behind learning about components is to make learning Hanja easier. Over time, you will naturally start to recognize components that occur over and over and over again. And that will be true for the three components in this character are quite common. And so when learning this character, gyeong, it's good to make a mental note that it has 3 components. The components are gyeong, which means fast, yul, which means brush, and in, which means person. So that gyeong equals gyeong plus yul plus in. But that's it. Just kind of note that and say, oh yeah, look at that. But don't try to memorize that for now, unless you want to be really eager about it. If you want extra credit, that's fine. But even then, be careful. Don't take on too much at once. Just learn this character, and over time, as we encounter more and more characters, as the days go by, or as you look out on your own, you will encounter these components over and over and over again. And from exposure, you will learn about them. And every time you write the character gyeong, you are practicing writing the component gyeong, the component yul, and the component in. So you're already practicing that as you're doing this. And to note the components just allows you to kind of take a step back and say, oh yeah, this part here, like this part in red, this part in green, this part in blue. And so now let's go back and look at the character, the stroke order diagram and the stroke order animation for this character. And the first stroke is this is often referred to as like a dot character, but it's actually a very, very short line going down and down and to the right. And then the second character is just a horizontal stroke going left to right. And the third character is just a vertical stroke, but it curves off slightly to the left as it goes down. The fourth stroke is one of these right angle strokes. So it's not all in one direction. It goes across left to right and then down. And this is not like a curve. This is more of a right angle. The fifth stroke comes across left to right. The sixth stroke closes this off. And then the seventh stroke is the beginning of the third component, the in component, the person component. It just comes down, goes down, and then curves distinctly to the left. And then the final stroke just comes off of the bottom of the meets where right below or right at where the sixth stroke crosses the seventh stroke. The eighth stroke starts there and comes down and curves off to the right. And now let's watch the animation. This time let's see, do I have it in here? Let me see. Do I have my I don't. Okay. I don't have my I will, when I upload the PDF for this, I will include again the cheat sheet, if you will, of the numbers in Sino-Korean. Okay, so this is gyeong, and for every stroke, we'll say the name of the character and the number of the stroke. Oops. Go back. See, I don't want to. Gyeong il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, gyeong-sa, gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, gyeong-chil, gyeong-pal. Gyeong-1, Gyeong-2, Gyeong-3, Gyeong-4, Gyeong-5, Gyeong-6, Gyeong-7, Gyeong-8. And one more time with the Sino-Korean. Gyeong-il, Gyeong-i, Gyeong-sam, Gyeong-sa, Gyeong-o, Gyeong-yuk, Gyeong-chil, Gyeong-pal. All right. And then, of course, as always, I'll write that myself. All right, so we've gone through all this. Now, what about pronouncing it? Hopefully this will work a little bit better than it did. So this is all using Forvo, and I've got a little thing on here that I'm going to talk about, cracking the Forvo code, how to find pronunciations easily on Forvo. This is the pronunciation for in Mandarin.
Gong, gong.
Now, the pinyin is G-E with a line across it, N-G. And you might not, if you haven't studied Mandarin, you might not think that an E with the line, with the macron across the top would be pronounced as a sound, or gong, gong. And let's listen to that again.
Gong, gong.
And you might want to look around, do your own searches with DuckDuckGo or any other search engine to find other pronunciations. One thing that's good about Forvo is that a lot of times they have multiple, let's see, one pronunciation. Yeah, but they don't only have it for one native speaker here. Oops, not there. And now we will look at it in Korean. This is the Korean pronunciation, gyeong, which I've been pronouncing gyeong. Let's see what it sounds like from a real native Korean speaker.
Gyeong,
Gyeong,
gyeong.
gyeong. So again, even though when we Romanize, when we write out in the 8 letters of our alphabet, if you're an English speaker, the sound, we write it G here. To my ear, this initial G sound in Korean actually sounds much closer to a K sound, but it's not aspirated, or it's not aspirated very much. What does it sound like in Vietnamese?
Gan,
Can.
gan,
Can. And the,
gan.
I am learning a little bit of Vietnamese right now. But I will refrain from trying to tell you how it should be pronounced and just let you listen to this. So here we have, let's see, oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's not right. Let's see. Oh yeah. So here's a word that contains kan.
Bánh canh. Bánh canh.
Let's see if we have any other. Oh yeah, here's another word that contains kan.
Canh tác.
Kan tak. So even though they only have one standalone pronunciation of kan, they have several places where someone is pronouncing a that's not very good. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a very good recording. So anyway, okay, I'm back after a little bit of technical difficulties. We're still looking at the Japanese pronunciation of this character. The Japanese will usually, in all cases, it has at least 2 primary pronunciations. One is the older, either onyomi or Kanon pronunciation or reading. But the primary one that you'll find, if you just enter this character, for example, in the search, talk in just a minute about how you search in different languages in Forvo, you get Kanoe. Now, Kanoe, it happens that there's this wiki called the Shinto wiki, which I found, which gives the 10 heavenly stems, among many other things. And we see that Kanoe is the heavenly stem of metal, and it's the older brother. E is the older brother, so it means Kan is metal, the element metal. No is the or is it Ka? Let's see, what is the composition here? Well, then it could be either Ka or Kan for metal, and then No is the possessive particle, and then A is older brother. Older brother here means yang, so this is the combination of yang and the element of metal, or in this kind of nice, more poetic Japanese rendering, it's the metal's older brother. But what about the older, in this case, Kanon reading, which you can also find here if you know the hiragana for the Kanon reading, which is this right here. This is the hiragana. This is the romaji, ko. How much does it sound actually like ko? My pronunciation of ko. And here that is.
Ko. Ko.
There. So, if you want to look for these native speaker recordings of different pronunciations in Forvo, I've broken the Forvo code for you. It always the URL always starts with https://forvo.com/search/ and then there's X. This is the variable, and then another slash, and then the country code. So you have to enter ZH for Mandarin, KO for Korean, VI for Vietnamese, JA for Japanese, and you can see that in each of these. This is the Mandarin URL, ZH. This is the Korean URL, and this is the last part. The country code is the last part: KO, VI, and JA. Now, if you're searching for the Mandarin pronunciation, you want to enter the actual character itself in the second to last part of the URL. If you're looking for the Korean pronunciation, you want to enter the Hangul in the second to last part. If you want to find the Vietnamese pronunciation, you have to have the Vietnamese spelling complete with diacritical marks, and put that in this case. This particular word in Vietnamese doesn't have any diacritics. And then if you want to find the Japanese is, of course, as is often the case with Japanese, a little more complicated, a little more interesting, maybe you could say. But if you can try entering the character itself, the kanji, and see what you get. It's for the heavenly stems, you're likely going to get the kun reading, which, see here I'm saying Sino-Korean and Sino-Korean and Sino-Vietnamese. The kun reading isn't really Sino-Japanese. It's modern Japanese, or Japanese. It is not. Now the Kanon reading, which is what this is Sino-Japanese. The Ko reading, and you can tell that because it's much closer to the Mandarin, Sino-Korean, and Sino-Vietnamese. Anyway, so you might want to take a look at this slide if you're interested in looking up these recordings. And now it's time for me to do my demonstration of writing the characters, and then that'll wrap it up for this 7th episode of. One thing I should add is that if you subscribe to the Substack, this URL here, in fact, here, let's Here's my Substack that you can subscribe to. This is what it looks like. And this is the last episode. And so all the 7 episodes, there's an introductory video that I did at the beginning. So if you go to the Substack, which you don't have to subscribe to it, everything is available for free. And if you subscribe to it, that's also free. I'm trying to figure out a way to use my Substack subscription list as a way to provide people with downloadable versions of the videos if you're interested in that. But you can watch the videos directly on Substack and for free and without commercials. You can watch these videos on YouTube for free, but there are commercials, as YouTube is wont to do, unless you pay them. All right. So, but now I'm going to go to the Hanja cam. Oh, and so the one reason why I mentioned the Substack, if you do subscribe to my Substack, you won't get a notification, email notification every time I post a video, which is like every day, and that would be annoying, at least in my opinion. Substack is kind of built that way to send people lots of emails if there are lots of posts, which there are in this Substack. But once a week, and so that will be the case for this video. This is the 7th video. That once a week at the end of the every week, you will get an email notification about that week's videos. So let's now bring out the cam. Let's see. Get this going. Gotta find my. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, and so I promised this yesterday. This is the book, a little bit better view of the book that I'm using as a writing surface. It's also a good book to use for learning Hanja. That's looking more promising. Let's see, where are we? Is that close enough? Might even be too close. Let's okay, oh, that's probably about the right height. Or very close to being the right height. Can't see this yet. Okay, just as well for your sake. All right. Being in full screen doesn't seem to make that much difference. Okay, so this is gyeong, the 7th heavenly stem. Oh, look at that! I have a look at that huge typo right there. Mu. I have to correct that. The Hangul is correct. Gyeong. All right. So gyeong, il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o, gyeong yuk, gyeong chil, gyeong bao. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o, gyeong yuk, gyeong chil, gyeong bao. Now, in this particular, I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer. In this particular font that these are written in, the top character that il, I mean the first stroke il, gyeong il. I'm going to just go back to let's see. Now, see, that's this stroke right here. And it will look different in different fonts or in different handwritings for people writing it in different ways. But generally, it should be more like this if you're writing it. See, this is a good. Yeah. Anyway, so watch out for that. It can be kind of confusing, especially for beginners. You say, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not the way it's supposed to look," and then you'll find out that it's just a variation. And this is true in English and in all languages. In all writing systems, there are variations, both in terms of handwriting and in terms of fonts, for how the individual things that make up the writing system, how they look. gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, gyeong-sa, gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, gyeong-chil, gyeong-bao. gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, gyeong-sa, gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, gyeong-chil, gyeong-bao. gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, gyeong-sa, gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, gyeong-chul, gyeong-pao. gyeong-i, gyeong. And believe me, when I do this myself, I'm tempted to just say, I'll just write it, but actually it's very good. It slows you down a little bit, makes you think, which is good practice for getting this deposited in our memory banks. That's gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, and this is the component gwang, and then gyeong-sa. This goes down further, right? Gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, and gyeong-chil. That's the component yul, or brush, and it's also now part of the component in. This is the other leg of the person character for gyeong-in. So that's another thing you can do while you're writing gyeong, gwang, gyeong, yul, gyeong, in, gyeong, gwang. Now, yes, I should. I do that a lot when I'm writing this particular component. The little dot stroke on top goes first. gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, and that's gwang. And then gyeong-yul, and gyeong-in. gyeong-gwang, gyeong-yul, gyeong-in. Okay, let's do it one more time. gyeong-il, gyeong-i, gyeong-sam, gyeong-sa, gyeong-o, gyeong-yuk, gyeong-chil, gyeong-bao. Okay, and now let's look at the make a note there. Correct that. Correct on slide before on the slide. Note to self. Oh, and let me just show you one other thing. I'm going to send this out. Not the. This is a practice sheet that has all of the heavenly stems on it. And I've been working on this. And then one thing I recommend you do is print these practice sheets out, use them, and then at the bottom write down the date that you did it, just to keep track. And one thing you can do is you can, over time, maybe notice improvement in your handwriting. One can hope. One can hope, at least, right? Okay, so now gyeong, gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. So the Hangul has 5 strokes. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. And freehand. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa. Gyeong il, gyeong i, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Gyeong i, gyeong il, gyeong sam, gyeong sa, gyeong o. Okay, so that's it for the Hanja cam / Hangul cam. Oops, I wasn't in. It doesn't really make that much of a difference whether you're in full screen mode or not. And that's it for this episode of Hanjado. I'll see you tomorrow for our next character, which is, let's see, what comes after gyeong? What comes after gyeong? Do I have all? Oh yeah, see, this is the character. Don't tell me, it's Shin. This is the 8th heavenly stem, Shin, and since since the 7th heavenly stem was metals. Did I say yang? Yeah, it's metal yang. This one will be metal yin. This will be metal's younger brother. Tomorrow. See you then. Thanks for watching, all that stuff,